think our audio is all set. I don't remember my opinions about this video, by the way, so I am unprimed, as they would say.
Google for the perfect male physique. Something interesting shows up. The same for men's health. This wasn't always the case.
Okay, to correct the point, not really, because standards changed based on cultural pressures, and it's normal for the idea of a perfect male physique to be different throughout time. I don't understand what the issue is.
Now, let me close those tabs before I start getting strange looks again. But many are calling this phenomenon one of the biggest threats to the fitness industry. And this isn't coming from people that just want an excuse to be lazy.
Unhealthy relationship with food. I don't court a banana. I don't.
Okay.
Nor is it coming from the give yourself a hug type people.
Yeah, there, Cookie Monster.
In fact, the people speaking out.
Okay, real talk, men's health has turned into an absolute rag when it comes to any kind of information, so I could shit on them all day and night, but it doesn't really support the point that's going to be made here.
Are heavily incentivized to shut up and smile. And most do. But the more you listen, the more you realize a harsh truth.
For an increasing number of men and boys, this otherwise benign desire to be more attractive transforms into something categorically disordered.
This is a systemic problem, too taboo for television.
I don't like that he's like arriving to a conclusion without even telling us what the components are.
The human brain isn't built to recognize, often until it's too late.
No, there's no short, secret recipe for it, you know, you just have to...
Don't do this at home.
I don't ever want to be in that good of shape again.
It's not natural.
There's not many drug use or abuse issues where you get complimented so much.
They see it on the small screen on their phone, they see it on the big screen in Hollywood movies. It's in their hands when they're a f***ing toddler.
So yeah.
Ripped as fuck action figures have been a thing for the longest time. At the very least, since as long as I've been alive. Like, I grew up in the 90s, and by the 90s, I mean, like, the entirety of the 90s. And I have had buff action figures. If this is not a recent phenomenon, this is not something that only haunts the Zoomers.
Yeah, I decided to start a trend.
Don't compare yourself to these people, because they're probably lying to you anyway.
You need to pull your head out your ass and understand.
It takes its toll.
It's not right, is it?
Okay, roll that back. Roll that the
Head out
fuck
your ass
back.
and understand.
Okay, see, this is not even part of that problem. Like, this is not a buff male physique. This is a barely there fucking physique. This is what prepubescent girls imagine as an unthreatening looking male who's reasonably in shape.
Takes its toll.
It's not right, is it? I know it's not right, but I can't say for sure that this is going to stop.
So, how did body dysmorphia become so widespread and dead?
Why are we calling it body dysmorphia off the hit? Like, what the fuck? How did we arrive to this place of just going 0 to 100? Body dysmorphia is a condition that needs to be developed. It's by no means an epidemic.
But more importantly, why are more people...
If anything, if we look at the fucking obesity rates, especially in America, we're very far from an epidemic of body dysmorphia, quote unquote.
not speaking about this?
Following video contains sensitive topics. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, but of course he would be the fucking pussy to put a fucking trigger warning. Can we stop for a moment and just appreciate how fucking sliced Hugh Jackman was for Wolverine? He's not unreasonably large, by the way. Like, sure, he put on some decent muscle for the role. He's not inhuman. He's not, like, ridiculously large, but he is cut. He is fucking single percentage body fat cut.
What is the perfect male physique? For me growing up, it was something like this. Health magazines suggest the same. Over time, this ideal has morphed towards something leaner and more muscular.
Okay, but why are you showing me competitive bodybuilders? Competitive bodybuilders were never portrayed as a healthy standard, because competitive bodybuilders were never healthy. It is well known that if you are a competitive bodybuilder in stage form, You are literally at death's door.
Trust me.
Hollywood films make this clear. Similarly, with reality TV shows.
Alright, again, he's showing us Sly like he's making a fucking point. The man is what? He's in his fucking 70s. He walks around at 3% body fat. He looks fantastic. He's definitely healthier than the absolute majority of his peer group. There's something there.
Female dolls are criticized for becoming unrealistic, but male dolls are arguably even worse. 1960s G.I. Joe. Looks
Okay.
like he's about to unveil the iPhone. 30 years later,
I listen, I doubt someone with defined pecs is unveiling an iPhone.
he looks more like a bodybuilder.
Okay.
Early Luke Skywalker, besides modern Skywalker.
Well, see, that has more to do with just the Chinese factories that Hasbro was outsourcing to, or rather Mattel was outsourcing to, just reusing the same molds to manufacture several runs of action figures. It's not an issue of, oh, my unrealistic body proportions. It has to do with the Chinese just running several lines of toys off of the same assembly line.
Batman, besides modern Batman.
Okay, modern Batman fucking slays. I like modernized Batman. He looks fleshed out. He looks significantly more interesting.
You get the point. If we ask AI to show us the ideal male physique, a similar image is painted. There's a clear ideal becoming more and more extreme. So,
First of all, AI is not a reference for jack shit. Just because an AI tries to predict what the fuck you want to see as an answer to your query, it's not descriptive of the abundance of data for anything. The AI is not making a philosophical point because it can't do that. You gave it a query. Show me male physiques. Male physiques are an item of visual inspection male physiques are an item of visual inspection only in bodybuilding shows. And that's why the response to your query is going to be an amalgamation of visuals from a bodybuilding show or bodybuilding prep or some relation of bodybuilding.
So, what are we seeing here? These are the men of the Woodabee tribe, showing their slender bodies, white teeth and eyes, in a beauty pageant to win the attention of the female judges. This is what the peak male looks like in the Bodai tribe, where the men compete to be the fattest.
Yes, those are beauty standards that are informed by societal pressures. These are body types that are derived from a lifestyle that is seen as successful in that particular culture. These men are skinny and white-teethed because if you are, I assume, of an appropriate societal position that you can allow yourself to be skinny, frail, and white-teethed, it means that you have access to whatever is desirable in that society. Similarly, in this Bodhi society, if you have access to enough food to eat yourself fat, you are apparently doing something very correct in their value system. And we're not particularly different. It's just that it's easier and cheaper to eat yourself into obesity in today's America and realistically in Europe as well than it is to maintain some resemblance of a healthy body composition. Because you go through the fucking food aisle, and every other thing, if not 2/3 of everything there, is going to contain fucking corn syrup that depresses your metabolism, spikes your blood glucose, forces you to deposit more fat, as opposed to things like grass-fed beef being charged a premium, and therefore, like, everything that falls into the category of whole foods charges you a premium, and therefore it is more desirable to be healthy because being healthy costs more money. Or rather, being healthy and like at single-digit body fat is more difficult. It costs more money. It means you have to have the dedication and the understanding and the resources to pursue that kind of lifestyle, as opposed to just filling your cart with whatever slop fits your budget and going forth with it.
Ancient Greek statues depict a lean, muscular body as desirable.
There you go. How the fuck is that different from a bodybuilding show? Just as I said. It's not, our standards have not really deviated that far from what has been the human standard. How is that different from something that you would see at a men's physique competition?
While traditional Japanese culture associates masculinity with self-discipline, loyalty, and honor.
Well, let's listen. First of all, there's not really a set standard for what is seen as peak masculinity in Japan, just because that culture developed a little bit differently. I would argue that the masculine standard is mostly derived from Confucian writings, and from Confucianism in general. That is why the five virtues of Buddhism are prevalent in Japanese society are actually the five virtues of the virtuous man as laid down by Confucius. And yes, Japanese masculinity, the Japanese idea of masculinity, first of all, centers mostly around martial prowess, especially around the military class in its different forms throughout history. But at the same time, you still have feats of strength. You still have masculine ideals that are depicted through physical prowess. You still have a variant of Herculean labors in Japanese mythos, and it's very much a demonstration of masculine virtue. And being fit, strong, and built like a brick shithouse is very much a component of that. That's why sumo wrestlers are substantial, heavy men, because they want to build that big physique that would allow them to produce a lot of force.
To identify the physical ideal, we need to understand what beauty is.
Well, for one, we need to agree on what sort of conditions are we deriving this ideal from, because any ideal has to answer to certain conditions, and it's going to be less aesthetic. It's usually going to be informed by the utility of that form.
The Oxford Dictionary defines it as the quality of being pleasing to the senses or to the mind.
That's not a definition that's really informing anything. That's a moot point. That's a definition that you choose to pursue. That's not the be all and end all. Also, you're going for beauty as opposed to the ideal form. This sounds like a Yukio Mishima feeling stream. I have difficult opinions about Yukio Mishima. On the one hand, good on him for being able to reassess his views on the Nation of Sun and Steel. I'm not a fan of dying by ways of a botched assisted seppuku by your gay lover. Like I'm less about that kind of life. But hello there, John Turner. Welcome to the stream. We keep it cozy here. Hop in.
And looking across different cultures, the ideal seems to vary and change over time. Social media and the internet have erased cultural boundaries and created a highly competitive environment where only the most extreme stand out.
Well, yes and no. I'd say that social media is an English language dominated space, and therefore social media is largely an amalgamation of North American cultural sensitivities, especially when we take into account that, for example, a lot of East Asian countries are actually isolated from what we assume as social media by a language barrier, and they really don't deviate. They don't really wander outside of their bubble.
And created a highly competitive environment where only the most extreme stand out. This emphasis on leanness and muscularity isn't just a Western thing, it's gone global. We are witnessing the homogenization of the ideal male physique, what some refer to as hypermasculinity. Even society's ideal men seem to be getting stuff done to achieve this.
There's been a lot of...
Why are we assuming that we're just anointing them as the ideal men for some reason?
Talk about, red pill and self-improvement, creating your hyper-masculine character. Looking like you swallowed a shovel is probably not the answer.
The psychology that somehow would have led to this guy thinking he needs a jaw implant or something, I can't even fathom.
A self-improvement can absolutely go too far.
Sure, you can take any activity to be pathological, no question there.
I'm not just talking Greek statue physiques. That was passed long ago. From facial aesthetics to height and muscle definition, some of the methods men are using to achieve such ideals you might find disturbing. It's from a man who just had his bone shattered in a surgery to add 2 inches to his height. A painful procedure that more and more men are getting.
Okay, but
Mukesh recorded the physical
hold the fuck up. But what does this have to do with hypermasculinity?
At a 9 out of 10. He stated it was less than the emotional pain he felt when people mocked him for his height.
We'll get rid of those love handles too.
Other men are getting abdominal implants, with some injecting oil into their muscles.
Okay, so he's currently using, first of all, extremely edge cases of doing severely stupid shit. Ab implants are probably the worst idea that you can get, second only to fucking synthol, is what we currently see on screen.
Each year, over 2 million Americans have
This guy is a fucking dumbass. He's terminally retarded. He is clinically retarded.
cosmetic surgery, a number that's rising.
He's a notorious lolcow.
With many trying to achieve an instant boost in muscularity.
Total spent on my body modifications is $950,000.
Okay, so again, the issue isn't hypermasculinity or quote-unquote unrealistic standards. It's people attempting to look for shortcuts to achieve a cosmetic effect that has dick all to do with an idea of masculinity. If you look like a fucking blow-up doll with with abs, you're not more muscular. You look like a fucking dumbass.
US dollars.
Now, people can do as they please, but for many, one cycle or surgery is never enough. Bigorexia is a dysmorphia people have, where they never see themselves as muscular enough.
Really, I'm very
Well, for one, because he's not muscular at all. Like, he is barely there. The biceps are obviously implants because, well, for one, I can see your fucking sternum. I can see the lack of pecs there. I can see the absolutely fucking absent forearm. There is no development of skeletal muscle tissue that would indicate that this person has invested any reasonable time into actually lifting.
People have, where they never see them.
This is a barely fucking there 17-year-old's physique. Like when you just get that hit of good T levels and your body just naturally starts producing protein, it starts going through hypertrophy just because you have those technically super physiological levels that are actually natural for your age of testosterone growth hormone. Yeah, it's gonna fucking look like that.
Themselves as muscular enough.
But that's not muscular at all.
As to why my waist is thicker than usual. Upper chest needs work. Why is my waist so thick? My arms just aren't big enough in comparison to my...
See, listen, man, like, genetics are a real thing. His biceps inserts are just very unfortunate. I hate to be the guy, but we can, if we go ahead and we look at Arnold's bodybuilding encyclopedia, like, yeah, unfortunately, you just do not have the muscle inserts for bodybuilding, my man. Like, this gap in between your elbow and the heads of the biceps is just never going away. For one, it looks like the biceps is just small.
To my chest and my back.
Of course, this can lead them down a path of steroid abuse.
When I was 15, I did something crazy that changed my life forever.
And with the rise of steroid-like compounds readily available to buy on the internet, many teenagers are shutting down.
You could always buy steroids on the, well, for the last 20 years, you could buy steroids on the internet, provided you live in an area where you have high-speed internet and, you know how to access the dark corners of it. Before that, you could just buy them from the gym. You usually bought that from the fucking powerlifter who's already on gear, and he would know how to hook you up either with a veterinarian clinic that would get you your test, or usually he would, be in the know of your local doctor who's a little fast and loose with a prescription pad. Or you just buy that shit from Mexico.
The hormones for a more muscular physique.
Do I take any supplements as a 15-year-old bodybuilder? Yes, let me show you what to take.
I'm currently on 15 milligrams a day of Rag 140, so 25 milligrams a day of MK677.
You might argue these people are just morons.
Well, first of all, yes, they're morons. Second of all, I question the effectiveness of any oral SARMs anyway.
However, some of the methods used in Hollywood are also questionable.
I was eating so much chicken breast that the hardest part about it was actually chewing it all.
Okay,
so I would just
and?
put it into a blender, blend it all up, and just drink chicken.
In fact,
see, that's an issue of his nutrition coach being a dumbass. If you want to hit your nutrition goals, you take unflavored casein, you dilute it in water, and you will get a lot more readily available protein than you can get out of binging on fucking stale chicken breast.
To achieve his physique in Baywatch, Zach...
Let me roll back to that just a second.
In fact,
so if we look past the very deliberate lighting, he is currently covered with a thin layer of, I'm going to say oil because water would dry off too quickly to last through the scene, but he's given the wet look and he has advantageous lighting. Usually it's downward lighting to accentuate the muscle. Is he also cut as hell? Yes. He's, I'm gonna guesstimate in like the 10 to 9% body fat.
to achieve his physique,
But he's not ridiculously muscular. Like, he's not large. He's not carrying a disproportionate amount of tissue for his frame. He's dehydrated, yes. He's dehydrated to achieve a certain look. He's doing what bodybuilders do without going through the accumulation of contractile tissue part.
in Baywatch.
Like, he's just like, let him rehydrate and he's just going to be a normal guy. Like, with a shirt on, you could not tell that he's even gone through any kind of prep. That's if we assume that no CGI is involved in this scene as well.
Zac Efron was also taking powerful diuretics.
Yes,
to
we
dry
can see
himself
that.
out.
When I was done with that movie, I don't ever want to be in that good a shape again.
I don't think it's surprising that
Fine,
many people
yeah,
struggle with disordered eating habits, like Freddie Flintoff, who developed bulimia.
I became known as a fat cricketer, really.
Okay, but have you tried just not being fat? What does that have to do with a male body image?
That's when I started doing it. You put your fingers down your throat. As you gag, you bite into your hand so hard. The wrenching to get it out. It's not right, is it?
Have you considered just not breaking diet? Like, I hate to be that fucking guy, but you don't have to throw up if you don't eat the shit that doesn't fit your macros in the first place. Have you considered putting down the fucking fork, lad?
I know it's not right, but I can't say for sure that this is going to stop.
If you can look past the airbrush marketing and Hollywood magic, eating and exercise disorders amongst celebrities are everywhere.
So if I'm gonna get a girlfriend, I gotta have a six-pack. And so I thought that if I didn't eat anything, well, I wouldn't get any fat. And then if I worked out a ton, I would get big and muscular.
Okay, so there are some flaws in that logic, and again, it's an issue of whoever is in charge of his training who is supposed to explain that to him.
One of the biggest influencers are using Photoshop, Videoshop, and other deceptive practices to stand out on
The fuck
social
is
media.
Videoshop?
Here in the Western cultures, there has always been a tradition of muscularity, but
Okay,
in the last
yes,
several
valid.
decades, this emphasis on male muscularity seems to have accelerated.
No matter where you look, this can be seen. Yet, nobody wants to admit it. So, where could this change be coming?
What the fuck are we exactly supposed to admit? We're supposed to admit that, you know, we have arrived to a state of opulence as a society, that we can have these luxury beliefs, that we can aspire to direct resources and time towards looking a certain way. That's not really it's not really a discovery.
From, and what could be driving it? Over time, the Hollywood portrayal of the idea...
Again, as I've said previously, Hugh Jackman, most of this just seems like not understanding nutrition and biology. Also, wow, society did me dirty. You are exactly on the money. Yes, it's trying to look for a problem where one does not exist. Like, if we were legitimately in like an epidemic of SARMs use, you couldn't get a fucking gym membership, or much less even find an unoccupied bench in an American gym. There would probably be a point made. Like, all of the tracks on every fucking track and field spot are completely occupied. Everyone is trying to constantly lose weight. I would entertain that idea. We are currently, I believe, what are we fucking at right now? We're 60% fucking overweight and 30% obese. No, wait a second. We're 40% obese. 40% of Americans are obese. We do not have a fitness problem. Or rather, we have a problem of lack thereof. Also, Hugh Jackman looks fucking fantastic in Wolverine still. And again, it's more an issue of him getting those good cuts. Did he... Are diuretics at play? Abso-fucking-lutely. Did he work out a whole fuck ton for this role? Yes, he very certainly did. He's not carrying a super physiological amount of tissue. But as I was saying, Hugh Jackman is not ridiculously jacked for this movie. Fine, he looks jacked, but he doesn't have a disproportionate amount of contractile tissue. There was no there was no growth hormone abuse. He's not carrying tissue that would be super physiological for his frame. He is single percentage body fat. He is achieving that look for a movie role. He most likely is achieving that by means of a very strict diet and dehydrating himself closer to his actual on-screen appearance. Is that good for you? Not particularly. Does it have tragic, long-lasting effects? Apparently not, because the man still looks fantastic.
The Hollywood portrayal of the ideal man seems to be getting more and more muscular.
I disagree with that, but okay.
For the first shirtless scene, I definitely did some unhealthy crash dieting. I think
sounds like a you issue.
In TV long enough, I'll tell you this is something that almost all actors and actresses do for these shirtless scenes.
They often achieve their physiques through aggressive crash dieting at the expense of their physical health.
Hold up.
They often achieve their physiques through aggressive...
Again, that's not an unreasonable physique. Once we look through the fucking skin suit acne that he has to wear for the role of Killmonger, that's just a physique. Like, he's just an in-shape guy. You take a fucking a quarterback out of not even the best performing team, and he's going to look better than this. You take a fucking MMA athlete, and he's going to look more impressive than this. But this is not an unreasonable physique. Not only that, I disagree that the image of that was portrayed in TV and movies was progressively more muscular. I argue that it peaked up to, I'm going to say, the mid-2000s, where Vin Diesel was getting a lot of roles, The Rock was becoming prominent, and then it went off a fucking cliff. I hate to inform you, but the fucking pretty boy from the god-awful vampire movie, what the fuck was it called? Oh, God. I'm completely... Pattinson. Pattinson is his last name. He is the current Batman. There is no crisis of fucking outrageous muscularity in current TV stars. I hate to break it to you. You have some standouts in cape shit because cape shit is derived from comics, and comic book heroes are supposed to have tier 5 bodybuilder physiques. That is the exception, that's not the rule. And again, you are showing me an example of cape shit in Black Panther, and even for cape shit, that's not really that ridiculous.
Crash dieting at the expense of their physical health to meet Hollywood's demands.
It's a couple hours a day, and it was brutal. The tricky part was eating.
The same occurs in Bollywood.
So putting on the weight was fun. I could eat and drink whatever I wanted and have a great time. And I had a...
You hate these unrealistic body standards? Why can't they have goosebumps all over? Listen, you can very realistically do that. Whether or not you get put into a room with soft walls is a different subject entirely. But you take a straight razor and you apply that in a certain pattern to your skin, and you too can also look like a very cold ball sack.
I had a ball, but it was also most uncomfortable. Even my wrestling training was affected because I was carrying so much weight that I couldn't really move fast enough.
Yeah, no shit. Being fat doesn't feel great.
Bodybuilding. This is the gold era, and
okay.
This is today, with many bodybuilders.
Hold the fuck up. This is not today. This is not today. This is 15 years ago. First of all, bodybuilding has moved on severely past this. This is Kai Green. He is one of the more prominent, quote-unquote, modern bodybuilders, and this is also, I believe, an older shot of him. So what happened there, people figured out that growth hormone is fan-fucking-tastic for putting on contractile tissue. The downside is, if you don't dose your growth hormone correctly, it puts on all of the tissue, including your organs, and that's how we arrived to the bubble gut era. That has now passed. I'm going to say closer to the early, like around the end of the, like around 2018-ish, I'm gonna say was when we've made great progress there. People started dialing in their routines. They started to dial in their dosages. They understand, oh wait, I can't just mainline fucking human growth hormone and nothing bad will happen. And therefore the bubble gut is no more, and therefore this is not what modern bodybuilding looks like. Fuck you very much. Where is the bubble gut? Where is the issue? Oh shit! Let me move out of the fucking way so that you can see it. There you go. No more bubble gut. How did they achieve that? Oh, maybe by maybe by dialing in their fucking gear.
Bubble gut.
You're ripped, you're huge, you look fantastic, no stomach, no nothing, no problems.
There you go.
People do not come to a show to see bellies. And if they want to do that, they go to maternity ward or something like that, and they can see plenty of stomachs there.
Columbo is a...
That was listen, that was an accurate criticism of the fact that people were doing stupid shit on gear. They did not know what they were doing, and it looked ugly as all sin.
Is a side effect of heavy steroid usage.
I'm not talking about my belly.
Probably don't need to tell you, a similar physical progression can be seen in reality TV.
Seriously? It's like you're photoshopped.
This is Jason Momoa, Aquaman. His physique, labeled as a dad bod. Same thing for an off-season...
Hold the fuck up.
This...
Yeah, this is a dad bod. This is, fucking, let me see, 25% body fat, probably has a respectable amount of muscle tissue underneath all that. Yeah, he's off-season. He's rehydrated. He has some of that subcutaneous tissue puffed up a little bit. This is a dad bod. Yeah. A dad bod being defined as the physique of an older man who's struggling with keeping subcutaneous tissue off. And there you go. He's depositing fat where he's supposed to. This conforms to the definition of the dad bod.
Is Jason Momoa, Aquaman.
This is fucking not a dad bod. This is blasting and cruising. This is very much a case of trend hard, eat clean.
His physique, labeled as a dad bod.
No, it's not.
Same thing for an off-season bodybuilder, Chris Bumstead.
Can you rate this guy's physique for me then?
Can't see him. Oh.
I don't think that street bimbos are a good reference group for labeling something as a dad bod. That's an off-season bodybuilder.
Chris Bumstead.
Can you rate this guy's
or just every powerlifter ever.
physique for me then?
Can't see him. Oh.
Part of me wants to put these warped ideals down to improving knowledge, resources, and just a natural result of increased competition. But
yeah, no shit.
The rise of cosmetic drugs, technology to manipulate videos, and the super competitive social media environment where people only post their highlight reels, it can be difficult to separate social media from reality.
Sounds like a skill issue to me. Also, this guy still looks bitchin' even without all of the very deliberate, without the deliberate lighting, without the dehydration, without whatever the fuck else he uses for his video editing. He still looks very much in shape. Sure, because he is in shape.
But others have argued there's a darker side.
Again, this is also the Kai Green era. This is right around the bubble gut era.
You see?
Oh, there you go. There's Kai Green and shot. I didn't recognize him from directly head on.
Some people profit immensely off these
Do you see this grainy ass fucking video? And we're supposed to believe this is modern.
ideals. An invisible hand. Sounds very tinfoil hat. But to understand this perspective,
Oh, it sounds very DYL if you ask me.
we need to go deeper. To the man who wrote the book on propaganda and shaped the world of marketing as we know it. 1920. Women didn't smoke.
Uh-huh.
It was extremely taboo, a masculine thing to do.
There's a taboo by men that does not permit women to smoke.
Oh, maybe because it causes severe long-term issues?
Either in public or even at home.
But yeah, it sort of makes sense. Smoking being severely toxic, and even more so toxic to women's health.
Of course, the tobacco industry wasn't happy missing out on 50% of potential customers. Everything they tried to do to appeal to the female demographic failed. They simply wouldn't buy based on rational reasons presented. The stigma was too
Rational reasons to smoke. Okay, I'd like to hear some of those.
much to overcome. Then along came a young marketer,
You hate the way this guy edits his camera footage? Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Edward Bernays. He had a secret weapon, knowledge passed down by his notable uncle, the father of psychoanalysis. Sigmund Freud believed that much of human decision-making was driven by unconscious and irrational impulses, often resulting in excess and overcompensation. Bernays decided to apply his uncle's theories to marketing. He didn't need to appeal to the individual woman and the rational benefits of smoking. He needed to completely reshape the cultural perception of smoking. So he hired a group of women at a big event, told them to all light up cigarettes, with photographers ready to take photos of them. These ladies weren't just lighting cigarettes, but torches of freedom, demonstrating their ability to assert their independence. He had staged a political protest to invoke the right emotions in the woman.
Next morning, there wasn't a newspaper in the United States, even the New York Times had a front page story, "Debutantes light torches of freedom to protest man's inhumanity."
Interesting. Are we to take from this that that suffrage was a mistake? Interesting. What did he mean by this?
To women by a taboo against smoking.
It worked. Bernays would go on to use trick after trick after trick in the marketing and political world. He wrote the book on propaganda and set the path of much of the advertising you see today, with companies hiring psychoanalysts to capitalize on this new approach to marketing, a shift from need to desire in a post-war America.
Modern man quite often tries to work off his frustrations by spending on self-gratification. Modern man is eternally ready to fill out his self-image by purchasing products which complement it.
And what better way to improve one's self-image than through your own body? Vogue magazine invented cellulite, a perfectly normal thing, turned into a condition.
No, hold the fuck up. Hold the fuck up. Cellulite is a very specific condition that arises from an excess of subcutaneous fat. Not only is it not a quote-unquote healthy condition, it actually has long-term deleterious effects. You don't need to invent cellulite, just like you don't need to invent the fucking systemic inflammation that you get from being over fat. Please and thank you.
Marketers went hard, tapping into the insecurities of women, driving the massive growth of the beauty industry. Buy this to be good enough was an extremely powerful message.
Is it wrong to give people what they want by taking away their defenses?
But much like with cigarettes, marketers realize they're missing 50% of their potential customers. Only this time, it was the men.
Wow, Sunshine. Stretch before you reach. In the Hall of the Mountain King, aka this is music that lets you know that bad things are happening. Yes, possibly invoking mid-century Germans. You hate it then when your info is being spoon-fed for you. Listen, good eye for spotting that. Good eye for spotting that, man. Yeah, and you know what? You know who this particular male imagery is appealing to? The homosexuals that make up the bulk of the fashion industry. Your standard fucking middle-of-the-road, middle-class, straight white guy is as disinterested in the shit as he was 100 years ago. He still just wants to grill. However, if he wants to grill, he can buy a fucking Traeger grill. Yeah, see, all of that is made by gay men for other gay men. Just like women's fashion is made by gay men for women. That was an ad targeting women, by the way, because that's who you market fucking condiments to. You don't market them to men. Designer underwear. Gee golly, I wonder who is the target audience for that. Oh shit, it's gay men. Still not hitting that key demo you're missing. Intermixed with vials of testosterone, of course.
Much like with the creative marketing of lung cancer sticks, this is not always in your best interest. And after many iterations, these standards, what people want.
It has nothing, it has but fucking nothing to do with what you're trying to postulate, my dude. You are high off your own fucking bottled farts. Hoo-wee. I forgot how much of a fucking leap he took here.
Unrealistic. Advertising lives or dies by its commercial success, and insecurity sells.
So, here's the key flaw in his logic. Okay, let's suppose for a moment, let's play devil's advocate. Let's presuppose that there has been an idealistic image of the male body that has been created by marketers. What the fuck is the product you're selling me here? Are you selling me the fucking hormones that I can't get without a script and won't get unless I, well, me personally, I'm just not getting the fucking dosages that I would like to unless I move to Thailand. Seems to be like a very niche market. Nobody's gonna sell me Tren. Nobody's gonna sell me Deca. Again, I need to find a doctor who's willing to risk prison time to play fast and loose with that prescription pad, or I need to get my shit from Mexico, or I just need to move to Thailand, like fucking Tasty Steve did. Not Tasty Steve. Fuck. I forget. Never mind. The fucking buddy of More Plates, More Dates. So it's not coming together, my man. Like, marketing is not the culprit here. If anything, if you follow a healthy lifestyle, you consume less, because all you need is less processed food and a gym membership. That's not terribly a lot. Okay, maybe you need to spend $50 over the course of 5 years for gym clothes. It's not adding up.
The human brain has evolved over millions of years and isn't built to deal with the rapid rise of the internet.
Yes and no. Technically, you can have adaptations, some being productive and some being maladaptations to any new stimulus, and within a couple of generations, the maladaptations will select themselves out of the gene pool, and the productive adaptations will stay.
Intentional or not, the display of unrealistic and deceptive ideas.
The Rock is not an unrealistic fucking body standard. Is he on the juice? Yes. He also trains like an Olympic athlete.
In the media exploits our cognitive biases, often to the detriment of both mental and physical
Again, why are you showing me media made for gay men?
health. It's why some of the most mainstream fitness advice is the least effective.
I don't know who still needs to hear this, but you do not target fat around your stomach with specific exercises. 8 million views.
Yes, spot reduction is not real. Unfortunately, that is realistically a piece of bad information that is being misused by marketers. But the marketers are misusing the ignorance of people who are incapable of doing 5 minutes of basic research to know that spot reduction doesn't happen.
Oh, let's ask the average person what they think. Let's stop asking the average person.
Yes, that's a good fucking point. Let's stop asking the average person, because the average person has an IQ below 90. Below 90.
What the? Do you know how f***ing stupid the average person is?
I disagree with that little snappy little tagline, you little sneaky cunt. I don't think the average person goes to a Ricky Gervais concert, because the average person is, first of all, usually the object of his ridicule. Second of all, the average person is usually a trades laborer who can't afford the fucking $300 ticket to go to a Ricky Gervais venue. Thank you very much.
This is known as the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people with low experience in an area tend to overestimate their ability or knowledge. Regardless of how smart you are, if you're part of the human species, you're susceptible to your cognitive biases being exploited.
Sure.
Is he smart? No, he's a freaking good-looking dude, okay? And he's making extremely large amounts of money by saying stupid things that don't make any sense, but you look at him and you're like, holy crap, he looks amazing. I'm gonna do what he's doing.
This is the halo effect, where people who are considered attractive tend to be rated higher on other positive traits as well.
Thank you. Marvelous logical fallacy here, my friend. Let me explain where you done fucked up. This is less about the halo effect. It's more about someone having a visual attribute that you aspire to. Therefore, you arrive to a semi-natural assumption that if someone possesses the attribute you want, they most likely understand how to achieve said attribute. It doesn't have anything to do with their attractiveness. If I want to know how to land a fucking high roundhouse, it doesn't matter how fucking pretty you are. I want to see you send a fucking guy into deep sleep by placing your foot into his face. And that will be the hallmark of you knowing what the fuck you're doing, and therefore, I will listen to your opinion. Or at the very least, I will observe what you do to get there.
If you were to look at this podcast there,
Is this some cheap shit, Joe?
No, that's the shit, bro.
you see that curtain down the back?
Fats and meats and never eating carbs.
But the way that he's tried to mimic the guest.
Halo effect mention opinion being removed. Listen. I think it's well established that he probably has pronouns in his bio. I think that ship has long sailed.
Position on Joe Rogan. You fucking piece of shit.
Social proof.
That was cute. I can't help but chuckle every time Vishret pretends that he is ever going to be interesting enough to be interviewed by Rogan.
Another, where simply a large following can make...
It's like always the halo effect with these, physique is just peacocking kind of people. I don't remember if he uses the fucking word peacock. I'm afraid that he may just go through that particular logic.
Make a person more trustworthy. By presenting a certain body type or standard as the norm, marketers create a reference point that
Okay, but first of all, fucking
our
disgusting.
perceptions of what is
Can we please get all of the bears off the screen? Thank you. But second of all, here's the thing. If an attractive person, I'm not going to go to an attractive person to do my taxes. I'm going to go to a fucking accountant to do that, and I don't give a fuck what they look like. I will probably be positively biased towards them if they have a very, very pronouncedly Jewish name. Then I know that I'm in good fucking hands. It has nothing to do with how pretty they look. And, given the selection pressures of my people, not a lot of them are particular lookers, but a lot of them are fucking good accountants, I'll tell you that.
Anchoring effect. This and an array of other blind spots is what the media taps into. Often those people...
First of all, there is no piece of media in existence that unironically uses the construct of the Giga Chad. No one, absolutely, but fucking no one, with the exception of people who make memes. Scratch that. Just fucking no one references the Giga Chad physique is real. Unless they have an actual room temperature IQ. Like, they actually need to have fucking the control over their estate trusted to someone else. Like, they need to be under protectorship to think that the Giga Chad physique is real. Because everyone and their mother is using that image ironically or post-ironically.
People on social media, in magazines, and on the big screen are just...
The guy on the left, by the way, that's a bodybuilder who's undergone a cut. That's not a bodybuilder. Oh, sorry, did I say powerlifter? Sorry, fuck. That is a powerlifter. That is a powerlifter physique. That is a strong fucking dude who has a very developed core, who is like low 20s, starting to get into the 10s of percentages of body fat. That's not... like, what the fuck of it? Like, you look at strong men, they usually look like that.
Cogs in the machine. At the start, this was more blatant and easier to identify. Today, it's all around us, often with no escape. Don't get me wrong, I'm down for super effective marketing that helps people live healthier lives.
Okay, but what the fuck are they marketing to me? Again, they can't market going on gear, because you can't do that legally. That's just not a product that exists in the fucking pipeline. Are they marketing supplements to me? like at a certain point, as an informed athlete or just anyone who trains and researches their nutrition semi-seriously, you're going to figure out that there's like a handful of supplements that make sense to take, which are creatine, L-carnitine for some people. Let me roll that back. Creatine for some people, L-carnitine for some people, casein for most people who need to consume a lot of protein, the baseline being 1 gram per pound of body weight. And that's about fucking it. Vitamin D, because, I don't know, we don't eat enough butter and go outside enough.
But no other industry has such a high failure rate while being so profitable. I can't help but think back to the many people getting life-altering surgeries, developing...
Again, people who get surgeries to get a cosmetic look are universally clowned. You walk into any one of those spaces, supposedly dedicated to the unhealthy standard or unhealthy expectation of the male body, and you roll up there telling them, oh yeah, I went through this cosmetic surgery to achieve a cosmetic effect, and you will be laughed out of the fucking room with the absolutely most scathing fucking slurs that you could ever imagine.
Eating disorders, and a lot of the negative side effects we haven't even discussed yet. Meanwhile, obesity and suicide rates are on the rise in America. And a recent poll found that 1 in 8 UK adults have suicidal thoughts related to body image.
Okay, and?
There's a very clear...
Let me try to roll that back. Maybe there was a point there.
Developing eating disorders, and a lot of the negative side effects we haven't even discussed yet. Meanwhile, obesity and suicide rates are on the rise in America.
Yes, that would kind of be indicative of the fact that we don't really have an epidemic of people occupying gyms and taking all of the gear and becoming unrealistically buffed.
And a recent poll found that 1 in 8 UK adults have suicidal thoughts related to body image. There's a very clear
and then he fucking adds this little fucking thing that he never mentions, by the way. Let me try to get the fuck out of the way of it. Shit. You can't see it if I move it that way. Just a second. There you go. There you go. Sampling bias most likely responsible for such a high figure. But he neglects to mention that. Funny that.
Have suicidal thoughts related to body
Don't
image.
use Twitter, you consider it radioactive material. You know what? Ever since Elon took over, it's at the very least significantly funnier. Like, for example, recently the FBI came out with a post about how they respect Martin Luther King Jr., and then they got fucking murdered both in the replies and by the community note saying that, didn't you guys kill him? But yeah, listen, it's a valid take. The fewer social media hamster wheels you're on, the better. I have to do that since, you know, I am a niche internet micro celebrity, but good on you for keeping your information space sanitary.
Clear disconnect. In fact, a Harvard psychiatrist warned about this over 20 years ago. I don't think even he realized just how serious and widespread this would become.
Ah yes, an academic telling me how working out is wrong. Totally not coping, seething, and overcompensating in the process.
The many problems men have with their warped physical self-perception.
I'm sorry, my guy, flex all you want, that biceps is not getting any bigger.
Was grouped under an umbrella by Dr. Harrison Pope, the Adonis complex.
Mhm.
Adonis was half man, half god, according to Greek mythology. Visual perfection, the god of beauty and attraction. Dr. Pope has documented cases of men quitting prestigious jobs, people smashing their own faces with a hammer to qualify for plastic surgery.
That's kind of a very wide net that you've cast there. Those are two very different behaviors, okay?
And others dying from disordered diet and exercise regimens. Although these are extreme examples, this was over 20 years ago, and we've seen many more cases since.
Sounds like a skill
Pope
issue to me.
suspects unrealistic standards driven by the media is what's fueled the rise.
What unrealistic... yeah, there you go. There's TikTok there. What unrealistic? Mishima was so right about intellectuals and their soft bellies and swaying hips. I don't want to call these people intellectuals. I refuse to give them the title. I fancy myself as an intellectual because, you know what? I like to think about shit. I like to be cognitive about the things I encounter and, you know, process them and think deeply about shit and concepts. These people are not intellectuals. They are the fungal growth on the ivory tower that should very likely be removed with some very harsh chemicals. But as I was saying, TikTok? Seriously? Body Positivity Central, fucking TikTok, is the source of unrealistic body images? Are you serial, my dude?
Yes, I've done steroids.
Yeah, no shit.
It's a catch. When beauty is so subjective, the ideal so extreme, the effects are fatal. Today's children are growing up the internet as a constant presence in their lives.
So not only that, like you show the average tier 5 bodybuilder physique that the dudes want or at the very least admire, you show that to your basic fucking white woman. She's gonna say that that looks like a squeezed ball sack. She's not going to be entirely wrong. But again, like, where are we going with this?
Lives, with little knowledge of a world without it, and the harmful effects of unrealistic body standards are evident.
I have yet to see an unrealistic body standard presented to me here.
Growing list of casualties.
Where is this growing list of casualties? Where are the fucking lines to the ER of people OVDing on gear?
I'm a 14-year-old and I'm thinking about taking 50 milligrams of Deca per week for 4 weeks. I know about the side effects on adults, but not in teens. Is there any side effects I should know? I'm a 16-year-old boy.
More worried about the teens getting on HRT than trend from TikTok influence. Yeah, you're kind of spot on there.
Currently undergoing cosmetic limb lengthening surgery. I don't think I know what's best.
Also, imagine using Plebit, of all places, as a source for fucking anything.
For me yet, but I absolutely cannot see myself regretting this decision. Sometimes unorthodox and drastic solutions are the best ones.
Wait, hold the fuck up. Where are your parents? You are a fucking minor. Where are your parents? What the fuck is going on? Like, roll that one the fuck back. I am 16 years old. Okay, technically not a minor anymore. Like, you get your adult passport at 16. Currently undergoing cosmetic limb lengthening surgery. Where are your fucking parents? What the fuck is going on here? Like, newsflash, teenagers are fucking retards. Their brain is not formed. Do not let them do what they want to do. I don't know why I need to spell this one out. Think back to any idea that you have had as a 16, 15, 17-year-old. And most of the time, that's not going to pass muster of the fully formed adult brain. That's why we have parents. If we don't have parents, we have guardians or someone, an authoritative adult in your life. And if you don't have that, then you end up on OnlyFans. But that's a separate discussion that we're not having today, I guess.
I'm a 16-year-old boy, currently undergoing cosmetic limb lengthening surgery. I don't think I know what's best for me yet.
No fucking shit you do.
Absolutely cannot see myself regretting this decision. Sometimes unorthodox and drastic solutions are the best ones. I'm 15 years old and recently found out about SARMs. My goal is to gain more muscle and get leaner. I'm 5'11" and 145 pounds currently.
5'11", he's on the skinny side, but again, 15. My guy, you need to wait for literally 2 years, and you will have the amount of testosterone just naturally produced that most people have to pin.
My main concern is whether or not I should take Ligandrol, considering my age. These are just a few people on public forums about to make life-altering decisions, with many going through with it.
Oh, by the way, if you are an adult instructing a teenager to take SARMs, Tren, whatever the fuck, you should hang off of the neighboring branch on a noose right next to the fucking individual who's coercing children into undertaking a HRT and sex changes. Both of you should hang on neighboring branches.
So yeah, I decided to start Tren.
Whoa, dude.
What did you just say?
We're witnessing extremely young kids take puberty-altering performance-enhancing drugs.
Again, we're witnessing extremely young kids. Kids this young are not taking shit on their own unless their parents are just neglectful and completely fucking absent.
Parents suspected to be giving it to their children as young as 6.
Oh, they're
for a chance to make
suspected.
it.
Okay, here's parents suspected of giving fucking harsh chemicals to their children. That is the rare case where, well, first of all, maybe, just maybe, let nature take its course. Maybe a little bit too many of us are surviving. Maybe we need a healthy injection of Darwinism in our society.
Hollywood.
There's not many drug use or abuse issues where you get complimented so much.
And even people trying to do things...
Do they really get complimented in the mainstream? Do they really? Again, back to my previous point of showing a tier 5 physique to your basic fucking... to a basic woman with basic taste.
more naturally are suffering.
I know I look like complete rubbish, right? When you train every single day for like 2 hours, do a load of steps, get...
You look like your liver is gone, my man. I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't care to. But you look like you're on death's door, and not in a good way.
like 4 hours sleep, you have no team
Why the fuck are you having 4 hours of sleep?
to support you, and everything is being done just by you. It takes its toll.
In life, there is this feeling that we
Oh,
all
he's
live
dead. Yeah, there you go. That was a wild fucking guess.
with inadequacy. There is this call to achieve and to go beyond all expectations, to outperform.
Okay, now I'm interested. I'm interested as to who the fuck that even was. Just a second. Scott Murray. Scott Murray. I better not fucking catch you doing some stupid shit. Scott Murray. Can I get a co-founder Murray Media? That's definitely not him. Young Irish fitness personality. Oh, that's it? Scott Murray dies. Just a second. Okay. Low body fat. Sure. Okay. And... Okay, so he's a dilettante that attempted to do a difficult thing without the appropriate information, prep, or resources. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. Fucking L skill issue. Hey there, Gunpei. We're discussing body image issues. You got to catch a stream. Yeah, I'm stretching out a little bit longer today. How are you doing today?
Other people, to measure oneself against a panoply of influences.
Hold up. Gunpei, give us your opinion as a non-penis haver. Just a second. Let me get a good shot of a fucking proper bodybuilder, and then we're gonna loop back. Fuck, where was it? Just a second. Would you say...
Labeled as a dad.
Come on, give me...
Can't see him. Oh.
Bodybuilder, Chris Bumstead.
Can you rate this guy's physique?
Dad bod. Same
Yummy
thing for
body
off-season
image issues.
bodybuilder, Chris Bum.
You're kind of accepting your body. Listen, it's okay to do. It's perfectly fine. You should be okay with your body as long as you understand that you're in a healthy place and you have a healthy attitude as to how you're getting and where.
Because people do not come to a show to see bellies. And if they want to do that, they go to maternity ward or something.
Just a
like
second.
that.
I want to
They
catch
can,
a very
see
specific.
plenty of stomach stare.
Columboism is a side effect of heavy steroid usage.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Can be seen in reality TV.
Seriously? It's like you're photoshopped.
I'm trying to catch a
This
very
is Jason
specific look.
Momoa, bodybuilder, Chris
Fuck.
Bumstead. Physique, labeled as a dad bod. Same thing for an off-season.
There we go. Gunpei, would you say that this is considered attractive in the mainstream? I'm not going to prime your expectations. Would you say that this is something that is attractive to the mainstream? May I even dare I say basic female taste? I'll give you some time to respond while we scroll back and look for the fucking sad eulogy of the guy afflicted by a skill issue and taking an L.
That we all live.
Maybe for other male bodybuilders this is peak. There you fucking go. There you go. Straight from the female's mouth. There you go.
With inadequacy. There is this call to achieve.
Not at all. This is too niche. Exactly. That's the point I wanted to make, Gunpei. Thank you. Would you say that it resembles a squeezed ball sack?
And to go beyond all expectations, to outperform other people, to measure oneself against a panoply of influencers and gurus, to work ridiculously long hours.
Scott was one of the more wholesome fitness YouTubers, doing much of the things we see Hollywood boast about. Yet, it seems to have contributed to his early death.
But I've set it up, you're gonna...
Hold the fuck up. This guy said out of his fucking mouth, I sleep for 4 hours. No one in the history of butt fucking ever is gonna tell you. It's like how other teenage girls like the very low body fat girl, but the men like some meat. Yeah, ball sack bodies for the boys. Yeah, the boys are gonna give you the most respect for looking like a squeezed ball sack. That's not an inaccurate way of describing that. But he is committing a fucking fallacy here. He said, oh, Hollywood tells you to do these things. No one in the history of ever is going to tell you to sleep less than 10 hours. Not do your fucking blood work when your skin is the color of dehydrated piss.
I'm gonna think I'm gonna... Oh, shit.
I remember seeing a 19-year-old die of a heart attack in the local paper. 4 different steroids were found in his system, with a suspected enlarged heart a contributing factor.
Oh, no shit. You're gonna abuse harsh chemicals that are also not legal while having no medical oversight, and you may die in the process? Oh my god.
Similarly to bodybuilder Dallas McCarver, who collapsed on stage, recovered, and sadly passed away with a heart almost 3 times the size it should have been.
A lot of people are speculating how much testosterone was this guy actually injecting to get a 55,000 nanogram per deciliter total T.
There's tributes on YouTube for all of
Exactly. He's so piss-colored because his liver has left the building.
the bodybuilders who pass away. Each year, the age is getting lower.
There you go.
Someone is literally going to have to die on stage before something changes in bodybuilding.
Maybe these are...
Cool. Why are we now addressing the problems of bodybuilding as a sport when we're supposedly talking about unrealistic body images in culture, in mainstream culture amongst men? How does that fucking relate? Bodybuilders are like the sub 1% of the total population. Does the sport have a problem? Yes, multiple. First of all, because it's a ridiculous and pointless fucking sport. But, you know what, I benefit from the downstream, I receive the downstream benefits of bodybuilding because I get to benefit from easily available over-the-counter supplements. I get to look at their training modalities. I get to benefit from the science that is derived from their program design and implemented to my admittedly pedestrian needs. But it's a fucking sport. No sport is healthy, especially at the highest levels of performance.
Extreme cases. But if you actually listen to what the very celebrities many look up to are saying, a very different side gets presented.
First of all, half of those fucking celebrities are lying through their fucking teeth. Because most of them, Chris Hemsworth, fucking the Captain American guy, Chris Evans, both of them were blasting and cruising. And they're still spinning the fucking story of fucking chicken rice and broccoli. My guy, Habibi, it is very obvious that you did the Trend Hard and Eat Clean program. Oh, hey there, Pafu. What I want to know is, why the fuck do they tan so much? Because pale skin is unsightly in most people, not